No, welcome to another Let's Talk Some Mando. This time it's the fourth episode of Season 3, also known as Chapter 20, also known as The Foundling. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't want anything ruined, time to click away. Alright, so once again, let's begin with your ever so brief review of this episode.
I like that these episodes have been having a theme of beginning and end with something, and in the middle is just something different.
The last 2 weeks have had an interlude in the middle of the episode.
They've been doing a lot of jumping around just in general in this season. It was like one episode they didn't. Yeah. But I liked this episode. I don't want to think I didn't like this episode. I enjoyed this episode. I like that we got a little Grogu action. We finally got some answers to how he got out of the temple, though we don't exactly know what happened from there, but
30 years of mystery yet.
so yeah, that was all cool. I also really liked the Mandalorian stuff. It was cool to see what they do in their spare time and watch them
just
train and
Yeah.
I liked it. Give me more Mandalorian history and cool stuff and
More lore.
hey, we know they still have to go back to Navarro. They're going for
I
reasons.
thought that would have been early in the season, honestly. I'm kind of surprised that's going to be back half of the season.
I thought we'd be through the entire trailer stuff in the first half.
Maybe they
But
just
we
cut that
haven't.
all out. Who knows?
We still don't have the Mandalore flashback that some people say isn't Mandalore, but I think it's Mandalore.
We don't know what it is, but the dome city, we see the bubble city, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, we haven't gone there yet. A lot of things, not a lot of things, but there are several things from the trailers we haven't seen yet. So still some stuff to come. All right, so let's now get to some comments, starting of course with the top-rated one from my other review video.
This one's from Garrett. I was so happy for Ahmad Best in this episode. People were so cruel to him for years because of Jar Jar, so I'm really glad he now got to be the Jedi that saved Grogu. It was an awesome scene.
Very cool. Not expecting him at all. He was. I had this list of there's probably 10 Jedi who maybe could have been there and saved him, but he was not on that list.
Well, what's cool is I think he was playing the same Jedi as he is in the
game show.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, that's kind of cool that he, made it more into official lore.
But yeah, now he is. I mean, he's the man who saved Grogu.
But who do you think his Naboo contact is?
It's got to be Jar Jar. I was expecting
I
Jar
thought
Jar
that'd
on
be
that
so
ship.
funny. I think that'd be hilarious if Jar Jar was his Naboo contact because it's like he talked to himself.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting. I thought for sure Representative Binks was going to be on that shuttle heading back to Naboo after things were falling apart.
I'm sad that they could only save Grogu, that the other younglings just didn't make it.
No, it kind of seemed to me like getting Grogu out was a bit of a priority. I know a lot of people disagree with that.
It's hard to say because they were trying to get him to the rest of the younglings to get the younglings out, but he's the only youngling that made it to the drop-off zone.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that maybe he's not the center of attention. They were trying to get any younglings out that they could, and he was the only one they managed to get.
Well, I don't know. I mean, from my point of view, if you could only save one, I'd save the one that's going to live several hundred years. I mean, there might be other species that live a long time too. But if you got to save one, save the kid who's going to down the road, maybe after the Empire is gone, after the Jedi are theoretically extinct. But then again, how much do they really know in this moment?
If that's the case, they could have just saved Gunji. He has got way more training, and we know he'll live a long time.
That's true. He'll live several hundred years.
Mm-hmm. And he can talk.
But it's like, kinda. He roars, but he doesn't talk.
He speaks Shiriwak.
Sure. But my point is, I don't think they really knew what was going on. It's not like they could, now that I think about it and reflect on it, it's not like they were making a true game plan here. They're like, we're getting attacked by clone troopers. I have no idea why.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what's going on. So they probably were just saving as many as they could and thought, well, this kid might be the key to, if things are really going south, he's someone we should get out of here.
Let's move on to the next comment from The Wanderer. I am really enjoying them making Grogu an actual character and not just a cute puppet. Since they decided he cannot be a Jedi, I'm glad they're showing us the Mandalorian culture through Grogu. Though they have teased us enough, let him speak and put on the helmet. This is the way.
Still not sold on making him a character. He's only ever made one real choice. And that was a big choice. But that's what kind of defines characters, is the choices you make. Grogu just reacts. He's there and things happen and he reacts to them.
But they're treating him more of a character, more of a person, a foundling. He gets told, hey, show what you can do. Don't be afraid. And he holds back and then he decides to go for it.
I guess.
And then we see the trauma he's undergoing when he's having his conversation with the armor. He's having the flashbacks of terrible things that have happened to him. I think it's making him less of a prop and more of a person.
I don't know. Again, they're trying, but it's more things happening to him, not him doing anything on his own.
Well, he's a kid.
Well, sure, but kids in movies still make decisions. Usually they're making the wrong decisions and getting themselves in the mischief and having to get themselves out of it. He reacts.
I think that's more realistic to a kid. Most of the time, kids they react to things that are happening around them. They aren't the decision makers. They aren't the driving force all the time.
Well, no, but if you're in a story like this, he's 50 years old too. That's another thing we have to can't forget. I should say. I don't know. I'm not entirely sold on what they're doing with him. Sorry.
Next comment comes from Chris Debo. After 4 episodes, I believe I now understand what this season will focus on. It will focus squarely on what it means to be part of a community rather than a single Mandalorian. We had 2 seasons of just Din and Grogu, and in both, his covert only show up in 2 or 3 episodes. This season will show us what it means to be part of a group that actually believes, rather than just a bunch of mercenaries following the toughest guy among them. If anything, kind of like Season 1, the last 2 episodes will likely bring back the focus on Moff Gideon. This comment goes along with Vetralit Torf. I get the feeling this season is going to focus more on bo-katan than Din. Also, what possible use could Mandalorians have for giant baby pterodactyls? They don't need mounts. It's also a bit silly to consider them foundlings since they're just animals.
I think the series should be renamed Mandalorians.
Maybe the plural of Mandalorian is Mandalorian?
No, it's Mandalorians.
I know.
I mean, it's one of those words that does sound like it could be the plural form as well. But no, I like what they're doing with bo-katan.
Mandalorian.
Here's the problem, and it's not really a problem, but here's the thing. She's the most interesting character in the show right now.
Right, because she's on the mythosaur. She's decided to follow the way. She's a deposed ruler.
Yeah, and she's having this kind of, I don't want to call it redemption arc necessarily, but she's having this change of heart and change of mind. And I think she's by far the best handled character in the show right now. I think Din is he bathed in the living waters, got redeemed, and now it's like he's just there. As I said about Grogu, like I don't dislike the things they're doing with Grogu per se, but again, I don't know that he's like really developing as a character. He needs to talk. That's the key. He needs to start
getting there.
He needs to talk and stop having these moments where he just is like a straight baby. It's hard you don't even know what's going on with him sometimes, because here he is, 30 years ago, kind of behaving the same way he is now. He just looks like this cute baby that does cool or cute facial expressions, and I don't know.
As for why they could use the pterodactyls, because we're in this land of the lost scenario with the Mandalorians, I think that it's kind of cool to give them mounts, because as we saw in the episode, their jetpacks ran out of fuel before they could even fly as far as these things can.
I guess.
Maybe she needs practice for when she rides the mythosaur. I mean, why do you want to ride the mythosaur? You'd have a jetpack. You don't need a mythosaur.
Well, you ride a mythosaur because it's cool.
Riding these pterodactyls could be really cool.
I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the Clone Wars and throughout Star Wars with them riding. Boba Fett didn't need to ride a Rancor. He has a jetpack. Why do you do it? Because it's cool?
Yeah, I think it was I hope it was kind of a joke about them being foundlings.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
They're not putting on helmets and saying this is the way.
If they do, that's some impressive training.
No, they're not. They're not foundlings. They're just going to be part of this group.
Yeah, I think Bo was kidding about that.
Why ride a blurg? You could just ride a speeder.
Well, sometimes you don't have an option, though, too. Like, they have jetpacks. Queel didn't exactly have access to a speeder.
But not all of them have jetpacks.
I know. Look, creatures are a huge part of Star Wars. They're like one of the fundamentals. When you're going to make Star Wars, you got to put a big, stupid creature in there. It's just a given.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen some comments pointing out that maybe a few too many keep showing up, which, kinda.
I like that they live in this harsh environment, though. It shows that their determination to keep growing in strength, right?
Well, we got a comment that will deal with that coming up.
Oh, well, let's move on then. Next comment from Beastly Arrow. I interpreted the ending scene as the armor not really caring whether or not Bo really saw the mythosaur, or it just being something that she imagined. In my eyes, the armor thinks that either truth is a good one, and it is not something to dwell over. I don't think she has any sort of hidden agenda. I get the vibe that, of all the Mandalorians, she seems to be the most committed to the way.
Yeah, I think she's the most committed to the way, and thus she would have the most interest in who leads them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly bo-katan seeing the mythosaur, Bo believes it's a vision or a prophecy kind of a...
Maybe it's the armor who's having a crisis of faith. She didn't believe Din when he said that he could go and bathe in the water. She kind of sounded hopeful, but she didn't really believe. And now bo-katan shows up and she's spouting, I saw a mythosaur, and do I dare to hope? What is the armorer thinking?
Yeah. Also, what is Bo thinking? What is Bo-Katan's actual motivation here? Does she actually have the good of the people in mind, or does she want to rule and get back to Mandalore? We don't... that's why she's been the best character. I don't exactly know what's going on with her. I'm interested in her.
Yes.
I'm interested to see where her story is going. I think the armorer could be kind of downplaying it because she doesn't want... She talked pretty harshly about the Kreese family before, about Bo being a cautionary tale. So it could be that she doesn't want her to step up and take control of the covert.
Very well, could be.
And like you said, she has been challenged. She's had her faith a little shaken. She was kind of dismissive of Din. Oh yeah, you go bathe in the living waters and you're good. As soon as he gets back, well, do you got proof? Oh shoot, he does have proof.
Now they might have a choice to make coming up in the future. He's proven that the living waters is still there, that Mandalore is safe to go to, and now she's saying she saw a mythosaur.
Yeah, they feel like they're kind of swooping in and taking over her covert.
Yeah, she could be losing a lot here.
Yeah. She's got everything. This is her entire everything on the line here.
I'm not saying she's doing it for selfish reasons. She's looking to protect these Mandalorians, and she's worried about them.
Exactly, because she is the most for the way.
Mm-hmm. Next comment from Guan Reef. The raptor sequence is a complete insult to the intelligence of anyone who has observed how raptors feed. The kid would have been long consumed by the creatures. I can't suspend disbelief on this one. I will say that it did make me happy to find out that Mr. Best had an opportunity to shine after all these years. I'm getting tired of saying this, but the BB was superior again this week.
Bad Batch, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This comment goes along with Zach Curtis. This episode was excellent. Reasons. The Mandalorians purposefully settled on Mandalore because of the ferocious beasts they would have to test their mettle against. The mythosaurs particularly. It makes sense that they purposely train in a place where they know they'll be attacked by monstrous creatures. It would also stand to reason that they would have learned the behaviors of these beasts to know how to contend with them. This show is becoming less about Din in particular, but more about the Mandalorians in general. This episode was light on plot, but gave us time to just experience the characters themselves, much like last week's episode of Bad Batch.
I agree they probably do seek out, in general, harsher kind of environments to test themselves. I think the problem with that is you're down to just a few, and you really can't afford to lose too many. And, I mean, if it's kind of like, survival of the fittest or the weak kind of perish deal, then when they get swooped up, why bother chasing them? That's just weeding out the weak. Not to mention, they're not really learning how to handle these creatures, are they?
They're trying and they're not doing their best. I mean, how did they not... If they've chased this raptor a few times already, how come nobody thought to get in a ship? They must have a ship if they got here.
They must have a ship. How come you don't just hunt this thing down and kill it? If you're trying to train and prepare, wouldn't the perfect thing to do to be go and hunt it down instead of just letting it come back and not being prepared for it? No one had a rocket ready. No one is ready for these things. It's like that first episode, too, with the alligator turtle thing. It just kind of pops up and they're all like, oh, crap. Run to the caves. Not like, here we go. Here's our chance.
Not to mention, I cannot figure out for the life of me how come the Paz's son wasn't dead.
He should have been dead.
I mean, it was like a day.
It was over. Yeah, it was roughly a day. And
they slept at night. They were like chilling.
I don't know. I found a lot of things in this episode to be annoying.
I just don't understand how come there was no reason as to why the raptor bird thing didn't eat them.
No, it probably should have. I mean, if it's going to refeed it to its young, wouldn't it kind of like regurgitate it? It doesn't just like pop the thing out as it was.
The kids seemed to survive just fine in its stomach.
Yeah, how long was it in there?
I don't know.
I should say.
How long was he in there? Why did the mama bird leave and come back?
Why did it like pop up and see them in the nest and then like, I'm going to regurgitate this food right now?
It was just plot convenience.
Especially when they said before when they've encountered it and spooked it or, it heard them coming, it killed the foundling that it had taken. This time it's like, no, I'm going to puke him up and you can rescue him.
Oh, wait, this is Paz's kid? Hold on.
Oh, wait,
I got him.
He's important? Sorry.
Just let me throw that back up here.
Not a nameless character.
Our next comment is from Lux. Mandalorian does not behave like a show that has only 8 episodes to tell a story.
Well said.
Well said.
This was my featured comment to me because I couldn't agree more. The show feels like it's in no hurry to do anything.
No, they're just slow rolling around.
Yeah, and that was fine in the first 2 seasons when we had a very clear, simplistic point and goal: protect Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, find Jedi. This season, it's like I don't know what the goal is. So
do stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's to find a new ruler of Mandalore.
It's literally a show that's just existing because they needed something to bridge between this and Ahsoka. I don't know.
It feels like it's trying to do too much and it's just lost its focus.
Mm-hmm. It's a little all over the place. I'm hoping they clean it up in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's not that I hate it. I know people go, "Oh, you're just hate every." No, I don't hate it, but it's not as good as the first 2 seasons have been. It feels a bit sloppy.
Another thing I was questioning, and I doubt there's a comment on it, so I'm just going to bring it up randomly. I totally thought when she's like, "Hey, Dan, how do we eat food?" And everyone's and he's like, comment. "You go off." Oh, it is?
Yes.
All right, never mind. Then I won't say it. I'll just read the next
I'm pretty sure it is.
All right, this comment is from Medallion. I had a silly question while they were addressing the eating without helmets thing. Even if they go off in different directions to eat, eventually they'll meet back at the campfire. What if Bo is still eating and her helmet is off? Are they going to ask, "Yo, you still eating? Are you decent?"
I don't know if that's exactly what you're going to ask, but it's so funny. You're like, I'm sure there won't be a comment. I'm like, actually, I think that's the next one.
I kept thinking, when she asked, I kept thinking Paz was setting her up. Because Mando's like, you go off on your own and you eat, and then you come back to the meeting spot.
Paz is like, no, you just
Paz
hang
is
out
like,
here.
as the leader of the war party, you can stay here and eat. I'm like, this is a trap. He's tricking her right now. He's tricking her into taking her helmet off, and he's going to be like, haha, I saw you without your helmet. I thought this was a trap. Because how do they know when to come back?
You thought it was Admiral Akbar time.
I thought he didn't like her, and he's like, oh, well, you know what? There's one way to get her out of the covert, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that, not that it's kind of the same thing, but Paz now has reasons to really like both Din and Bo.
They did help save his son.
Yeah. She led the war party, and he was the one who saved him at the last second from splatting into the ground or into the water, I guess.
Although, Grogu did humiliate his son.
Yeah, but...
They went paintballing together and one lost.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he can get over that.
No, but I thought that was the weirdest thing. I'm like, this is so odd, because they're all like jammed together in a cave, and it's like, it's time to eat, guys. Everyone spread out. It's time to eat, guys. Everyone spread out. Go find your corner.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's how sad that... I mean, it's so sad. That's what it shows. The helmet thing is kind of stupid. I mean, we kind of knew it was already stupid, right?
It needs to be not, did you ever remove your helmet? It's, has somebody removed your helmet? That's what it should be.
That's exactly what it should be.
It should be a dishonor thing, like you were defeated in battle and your enemy removed your helmet. Yeah. That is the dishonor, not I took my helmet off to have lunch and someone saw me.
Well, maybe that's the justification for kind of doing away with it. It was Mayfeld in season 2 who kind of pointed, what is the rule exactly, that you can't be seen without it or you can't remove it? Because there is a difference there.
Right.
Just like if somebody had stumbled back into camp and Bo wasn't finished eating and they saw her face, like, is she now have to go take another bath in the living waters or what?
Well, and there was the whole situation in season 1 where Din's helmet was removed by IG-11.
Yeah.
How does that not count?
But he's not a living being, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
I think that it was still somebody removed your helmet and that happened.
Sure. Rules.
So does that mean Paz's son has never seen his dad's face?
Probably not. How would he have?
Weird. Can you imagine that?
No. Can you imagine when your son puts their helmet on too that you're never going to see his face ever again?
Oh. Well, they put it on right before they hit puberty so they don't have to see the acne, I guess.
That's the real cause. Mandalorians just naturally, not that they're a race, but they just naturally all have acne. They can't figure out because they wear a helmet all the time.
All right, last comment is from Bill Whipple. The armorer knows about Jedi. She knows that Din brought Grogu to a Jedi and that he returned to him. I think the armorer is keen on having a Force-using Mandalorian, and that's why she was paying particularly close attention.
I agree. That's a good thought.
It is. I mean, think about it. Tar Vizsla was both a Mandalorian and a Jedi. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad idea to get a Force sensitive on your side. Mm-hmm. Especially a pretty powerful one who's qualified to be a Jedi.
It's just going to be weird trying to meld both trainings together for him.
Well, he kind of turned from the Jedi. I mean, he's still Force sensitive, but he turned from the Jedi path, so I don't think he's going to be both, per se.
Well, it depends on if he decides to keep training. He can train without Luke.
Well, he is still kind of training, yeah. He's still using his abilities.
Well, and he didn't come with a note pinned to his shirt that says, "Oh, don't train anymore." So Mando's still like, "Dude, show him what you can do.
I know,
I'm proud of you,
man.
son.
You can do it. Do that flip thing and then shoot him with the darts.
Do it." I liked that scene. I know people were questioning why did he like shoot him once and then because he was insulted. He was like, "Really? You're gonna have me fight a baby? Look, I shot him. He didn't move."
It could be.
I think it was like he wanted to train. He wants this to be taken seriously, and he thought he's being matched up with a toddler.
Yeah, I could see how that would irritate someone his age.
Right, so he probably didn't take it seriously. If he would have fought him full out and Grogu would have tried to fight full out, maybe it would have been actually an interesting fight instead of Grogu just showing off at the end because his daddy told him to.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm sorry, I get off topic.
No, that's on topic.
Meh.
But anyway, I think that is going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you thought of this episode of The Mandalorian. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.